Unknown Entry Event right off the bat had this really cool introduction, this really cool opening scene with this sweep through the house up to our main character. That was a really cool shot that I haven't really seen before, and it just really made me feel a part of the scene. I thought this film was a really cool way of showing off this fashion. All the outfits and the fashion were really vibrant and interesting to look at, and unique. I thought that was really cool. I enjoyed the sound effects and the music and the ticking clock that we had in here, and the way that the dancers moved that ticking clock was really cool to see. Very interesting. The dance numbers and the characterization of these dancers was also something that you don't see often in fashion. Like, we usually are focused on the clothes, but these characters came to life in these dances and movements, and the end when they're all together in a bunch. You see how all these clothing pieces come together and how dynamic they are in these scenes. I thought that was really cool. I loved watching this visually. It was beautiful. So yeah, a really cool film, really cool way to display fashion and clothing in a way that I haven't seen before. So yeah, really enjoyed this.
Hi, these are my comments on Unknown Entry Event. I thought this was a really interesting short to watch, like both visually and sonically. It was a really interesting display of fashion, and I think the creators did a really great job of highlighting the fashion as individual works of art. The location, the lighting design, and the sound, like the metronome-esque quality of the soundtrack that sort of evolves into the guitar, all of that like underscored like the funky, expressive, bright clothing really well. And again, like each, as opposed to just clothes, like it really is, each piece is highlighted as like its own individual like body of work. And I thought it was stunning. I think the choreography also and the movement also like supported that vision, and really created interesting shapes within the fashion, particularly when that final image of the models like on the floor together, like pulsing with the music, like very unexpected, very captivating, and completely like a new way of looking at displaying fashion. Yeah, I thought the opening image was great. That drone that tracks into the apartment. There's so much intricate detail into the way that this was executed. And I think you can really tell. I thought it was really strong.
This was bizarre. It wasn't exactly what I was expecting when starting to watch it. I was expecting something a little more than a fashion show, actually, because the girl was typing on her computer and it seemed like it would be a little more horror than fashion, and it's quite clear what's going on. I'm not sure in the world if fashion's been banned, since they have to go into a tunnel and they're doing it to themselves, doing a fashion show by themselves. But it was quite unique to watch, to see what was going on and try and figure it out. The costumes were inventive, which made it quite fun to watch. But yeah, you really didn't know what was. You weren't really expecting a fashion show when you first watched, especially saying when they were implying they didn't know what they were getting into. It was kind of implying, and that they've lost it all. It kind of implies that we're going into a post-apocalyptic world, and really, fashion maybe it is, but the fashion element to it makes it quite unique and inventive, and definitely a twist you weren't expecting.
Unknown Entry Event was really interesting. I think the way I viewed it was kind of viewing at the secrecy and the exclusivity of fashion by having it be, like this unknown entry event in this space that's unknown, underground, and quite edgy, and that kind of seems to be how art is viewed sometimes. Art through fashion, art through high art, all of this, but it's like someone to get in or you don't, where it's like not as welcoming. I think it was really interesting. to have that and have that build into it, as well as, you know, create this post-apocalyptic type sense, like dingy grunge type setting where it's underground, and it is, you know, subversive in the way that, you know, fashion is really becoming, but at the same time being exclusive. I think those are two spaces where art in general is starting to live, and where it's, you know, you're in, you're not in, you're out type situation. I think it was shot really well. I think this location really brought the piece together, and the action within the piece together to create like a full formed piece. And overall, it was shot really well and really interesting to watch. I just want to say, very well done.
Unknown Entry Event. It starts with this amazing, fluid, expansive opening shot, which is a brilliant way to immediately engage the audience. And have them marvel at your technical wizardry, because it was really impressive. And the idea of the Unknown Entry Event itself is really cool. It's got a very cyberpunk edge to it. It kind of suggests, you know, weird other world sliding into ours, which is kind of the perfect setup for, you know, this sort of secret underground fashion show thing. And what's interesting about that part of the film is its use of that location, underground location. Because it just looks really cool. It's a really cool location, but the fashion show itself builds the location into its framing. So the location becomes as much a part of the fashion shoot as the clothes. And so it turns what could just be sort of an ordinary fashion show thing into a real work of cinema, which is impressive.